What's up, B Matt?
What's happening?
Usual delights. Kind of got used to all these sunny days in a row. Now it's murky outside.
I'll take the cool weather any day of the week.
It
Makes me feel
brings
like fall's here.
this cool weather. It's gonna be like what 88 today.
Yeah, well, comparable.
You want to talk about Byron Cowart? No, I'm just kidding. There's no reason to talk about him.
Who?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I'm gonna test my stats page here. Here we go. Test. Yes, there it is. Yes, we could do our two deep on here now. It's very exciting. I have the defense queued up. We'll probably focus on defense today then.
All right.
If that's casual, we've got Marlin and whatever. And you think Daquan's going to be out until like November?
I do. Yep.
I forgot his injury. Is it Achilles? No, that was
It's
last
still
year.
Achilles, yes.
Same thing. Okay. God, they need him bad, dude. Like super bad.
Well, they need him for depth this year, and they really need him to get some experience and be ready to play next year. You know,
Yeah,
if he can't play next year, they're going to be tight situation.
Yeah, they were banking on him to be good.
Yeah, and he would be good if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. All right. We had some good threads this weekend. Some really good ones. What about this? The thread, I don't know if you saw it about Montgomery getting a $50 million water park. I know you're happy as a former Montgomery resident.
I did not read that thread.
You son of a bitch. Something good's going on in Montgomery and you don't even watch it.
I just ignored it. Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean,
unbelievable.
water park, is that really something to get excited about?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
I think. I get my mic set.
I mean, maybe Montgomery could build some nicer schools. Put some money, more money into public education.
Well, that's a good point, but my daughter's
But I mean,
really
water
good.
park's great.
My daughter's school's really good.
Yeah,
That's one thing.
it is a great school, and she deserves a lot of credit for being a part of it. But what percentage of the community does that school serve?
I don't know. 100% of my family. Hey,
Yeah,
when is Rush starting at Montevallo? Is it ongoing right now?
Rush starts a week from this Friday.
Oh boy.
And it'll go. It's just like 3 days. It's nothing like, what you're used to at Auburn, where it's a whole week event, and you go from 30 to 15 to down to 10, step by step or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there's only 6 sororities at Montevallo. Maybe 75-ish girls going through Rush.
Is that
Each
real?
class is around 15 or so.
Wow, I had no idea. I thought
So
there'd be
much
more
smaller
girls.
scale.
Yeah, well, I mean, I went to a smaller school.
But she started classes this morning, so she's rolling. She's a college student now.
Oh yeah.
And that was much tougher than I thought it'd be. Much tougher.
You mean just taking her Friday?
Yep.
That's weird. I thought it wouldn't be so bad because it's your second.
Nah. Well, Tyler didn't. Tyler
know.
went and stayed with his grandmother the first year.
Yeah, but
Went to a junior college, a little bit different. But no, this one was a tough one.
Yeah, well, you're a beast. If you want to know my opinion.
So now we have an only child and a dog in our house.
I know, and
Down to 1.
I mean, Cassidy ain't exactly young anymore.
15.
That's right. They's coming, V Matt.
Yep.
I'm trying to get on here so we can check out our if we have any chatters with us. My computer is just like, uh-oh.
And you are lagging a little bit now, for whatever that's worth.
Great. Wonderful. I don't know how to fix that in a live situation like this.
Yeah, we'll just deal with it. No biggie.
Well, I don't know. People don't want to deal with that.
Well, it could just be me. I don't know.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it is. Anyway, I can see the pop-out chatters now. Rob's in the house. Brian. BP's saying that you look pretty hot today, Brian.
Awesome. I mean, I worked hard before I got on here to, get my makeup right, my hair and everything. So my white T-shirt just, put on just right.
Yeah, it happens.
So.
Well, if I'm lagging, it's my fault. If I can fix it, but I have to turn off the broadcaster to do it, and I'm not going to do that. So
we don't want to do that to the good people out there.
Project Clash says no lag here. Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and start the show.
Well, there is no lag now. You're good.
I have a very long list of things we need to discuss today. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says depth charts. And I only have the defensive one queued up. Let's see if you guys can see this. Yeah, I queued it up right there. It looks ugly on our screen, but you can at least see it. And yeah, I'm just kind of learning how to produce shows like this. I mean, step one was getting the podcast to work. Step two was just to get Brian on the video, and then step three was to make it actually work and do different things. We're going to try to do a call-in show after the Oregon game, which obviously could go very well or very poorly. Just depends. But we have the ability to take call-ins on the phone. So at that point, we would be able to.
Oh, my goodness. We got to get the best bunker posters to do that. We really do. It's no good.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I have a few lined up, and I have not given out the number publicly yet. So.
Well, we remember, I mean, at least I remember what it was like when they used to do call-in shows after, the Auburn Network would. And they would screen callers, and they would be careful and stuff. And the coaches would answer the questions. I mean, they'd have one of the assistants like Don Dunn would be on there. Or you know, I'll be on there and get mad about something somebody asked. So we will be non-filtered, correct, JG?
Well, I mean, yeah. Unless
you can't call up and threaten to kill us or something, but
I get an intern between now and then. I don't know who's going to help me.
Yeah.
It's just me, bro. Oh, goodness.
And we do have a few folks that tend to get unhinged by results of games at times.
A 10. Completely unhinged.
Oh, my goodness.
Sitting around my desk here, I got some drumsticks.
I just want to say off the top, though, JG, if Auburn loses Saturday, it's definitely me and your fault.
Oh, absolutely. And we
can
call
also and express that on the show, please.
Remember now, we can blame this on Ben, too, if we want to.
Oh, that's right, Ben. Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, because he left us with his beautiful long locks.
That's right.
I think he's living his best life over in Georgia now.
Seems like it.
Mm-hmm. Works for a small startup company over there. All right, so we'll go on ahead and get on with the show. We don't have a lot of format today. We're just going to work on depth charts. Maybe we can just kind of talk about kids as we go through. These young men, Marlon, Derek Brown, Nick Coe, Connis Miller, Big Cat Bryant. I noticed that some outlets are still calling him Martavius. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Marcavius.
Marcavius, right?
Marcavius, yeah. Nobody calls him that.
He's still that in our database, though, so if you want to find his picture, you got to look it up that way.
Chandler Wooten is one that, of all these dudes, I wonder about the most because I have not seen him play very much. And I don't feel like people are talking about him. They're just like, oh, Chandler Wooten's going to play Sam and everything's going to be fine. I'm like, based on what? I don't know.
He's going to play Mike and Sam.
Well, there's no doubt. Yeah, I've got him listed as the backup Mike when they're playing 3 linebacker sets. But if I put Money and Mac on here, first of all, I might get it wrong. And second of all, it would confuse people that Auburn would have 5 starting linebackers. It just makes it tougher, B-Matt.
Agreed.
Igbenogany, Daniel Thomas, Jeremiah Denson, one of my favorites. Javaris Davis, not one of my favorites. Nehemiah Pritchett, don't know him. Trayvon Leonard, I'm surprised he's still here, honestly. Christian Tutt. Some good players there, man. I know you agree.
I do agree.
How about that? And can we disparage Florida and Miami too?
We can.
All right. Looking forward to that. I think that we're going to try to do the show from Voodoo tomorrow, right?
I'm for it, yes.
Ryan says he'll screen calls for me. Ryan, you're going to have to be here at auburnsports.com headquarters. So unless you live in Hampstead.
That's going to be kind of tough.
I mean, if he lives
I'll be somewhere at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, I got your credentials too. And then Robin,
put them in your bag so you don't forget them, bro.
No, they're in my bag. I would never forget that.
Is there a parking pass in there?
There is.
Excellent.
You've got one, and Robin's got one as well. Assuming that Robin's going, because he called me last night. I forgot to call him back. Shoot. Hey, I want to play one little game before we start the show. I've been opening these cards from like 89 and 90. Baseball cards. And I just want to give you like the did you know area of this card, and maybe you can tell me who this player is. Did you follow baseball back then?
A little bit, yeah. But I'll be total luck if I guess it. But go ahead.
Okay, this is the 1990 series. He's listed, I didn't even know he played this position, as a third baseman for the Pirates. It says led Pirates in almost every hitting category, including at-bats. Does that even count? At-bats, hits, doubles, triples, homers, and RBIs in 1989. Who do you think would have led all Pirates? This guy's pretty good, and he's made a whole lot of money. He's still making a lot of money. There's another hint. Like, once a year, he gets a big check.
Wait, is the guy who got that contract Bobby Bonilla?
Bobby Bonilla, indeed. There he is. Look at that. He says, hey, B-Matt.
What's up?
Thanks for loving me. Just kidding. I love these old cards, man. If this was really 1990, I'd be stoked. Got Omar Vizquel on here. Not a rookie card, though, unfortunately. I wonder if he'll be in the Hall of Fame. He probably already is. Will Clark. Remember that guy?
I've heard of him, yeah. He's pretty good. Played Mississippi State.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Lou's on the show. Says gives us a War Eagle, guys. What up, Lou? Good to have you. No word from Ryan yet if he wants to be my call-taking intern. I'll give you some beer. I've got a Peroni that's got your name on it, big boy, if you'd like to try. I also have a Paulaner Hefeweizen that I'm willing to say for you. Or a Yellowhammer Oktoberfest that my man J-Dub brought over yesterday. We had a couple beers. And since we don't have Voodoo in Montgomery, we have to go elsewhere to get our wings. So,
Whoa, what? Wait, what? You cheated on Voodoo?
They don't have one in Montgomery. And I don't think they're even talking about like expanding into Montgomery, which is an untapped market. Ryan wants to know.
You get on that I-85 and come on up, bro.
No, I mean, that's like 40-something miles.
Hmm?
You know, if you've been drinking, we don't advocate drinking and driving. I can Uber across town. All right, you guys ready?
Heck yeah, we're ready.
I'll tell you what. So what we'll do is I'll disparage Miami and Florida early, and then you can kind of come back and then disparage. What did you want to disparage the people who watched the game?
Yes.
How dare you, man? And also, did you see Khalil Tate ended up 1 yard short?
That was a shame. I did see that highlight.
Us Tates don't find the end zone very often, is my joke.
Yeah, there was that one time in college, JG. You always have that.
Well, I threw a great touchdown pass in college. Did not catch it. I got the shortest legs ever. I can't get away from anybody. Here we go. Hi-yo! Hello again, and welcome to the AuburnSports.com rundown presented by Voodoo Wing Company. This right here, this very show is your favorite podcast for all things Auburn and perhaps a few other schools when they're in need of gentle disparagement like Florida and Miami. What a delightful game it was to watch the other day. No terrible play at all. Just smooth sailing the whole way through, and I'm glad they kept calling it week 0. That really bothered me that they kept calling it that. But anyway, congratulations to both Miami and Florida for completely shitting the bed, and to Florida for shitting it a little bit less. Today is, whatever day it is, August 26th, Monday morning, the year of 2019. This is episode number 399 of this fine program. We are currently 5 days away from Auburn's encounter with the Hated Ducks of University of Oregon. That game will be contested in suburban Dallas, Texas. One-time home to Gustav Malzahn. I asked him that the other day. He said he still has a few relatives that live in the area. My name is Jay Tate. I am publisher of AuburnSports.com, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Brian Matthews, capital B, capital M, our Ace Team reporter, and a man who everyone from Las Cruces, New Mexico, all the way to Winston-Salem, North Carolina knows is a doer of many things. What up, B-Matt?
JG, I know everybody's excited about the new Star Wars trailer.
Oh,
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I know they're very excited about seeing Liverpool destroy Arsenal this weekend.
No, I wasn't very interested in that.
And I know they're very excited about the start of college football here in 5 more days.
Yeah, I think they are pretty fired up about that.
Yeah.
What did you think about that Florida-Miami game, B-Matt?
I thought it was really rough looking. It looked like a first game.
Yeah.
It looked like a game that was played on August 24th, which is too early for any former football game to be played.
Week 0.
Yeah.
Well, at least you had the Arizona-Hawaii game, which was much more entertaining.
1 yard short, JG.
Yes, I know. We Tates tend to fall just a little short of the end zone. It happens. I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but Arizona had a chance to win the game on the last play of the game, and the quarterback made probably, I don't know, a 50-yard scramble and was tackled 1 yard short of the goal line.
There are like 5 people in front of him. What did he think he was going to do? Just run through the giant brick wall by himself?
Well, you got to give credit to that defensive lineman that got goosed initially, and then he ran all the way back down, chased it down the field a la Marlon Davidson, and caught him. Unbelievable. Rob Donaldson on the, I'll just say Rob, last name redacted. It's part of the YouTube show. We're actually broadcasting this bad boy live on YouTube as we tape it. Wants to know how many projected starters are on the injured list. We'll get to that, bro. We'll get there.
Speaking of Donaldson's, JG.
Yes, sir.
A former Auburn player, Josh Donaldson, had 2 home runs yesterday.
Bringer of rain.
Braves swept the Mets.
I know somebody who's unhappy about that. That would be our friend Dan Fralick, who's now house husband Dan Fralick.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, you like the Braves, kind of?
Grew up in Atlanta, bro.
I know that, but I mean, I rarely hear you talk about them.
Yeah, back in the day, it was Phil Necro, Dale Murphy. That's my Braves.
And you're old.
Way back.
One place where you never feel old is when you go to Voodoo Wing Company because the food's so delicious it makes you feel like you're a teenager again. You know that you're so fired up to try a delicious food. You remember that? I mean, when I was in Oklahoma, we didn't have Voodoo Wing Company. But they used to have a thing at a restaurant where you got 5 sandwiches for $5, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. And every time I went in there, I was so stoked. If they had Voodoo Wing Company back then in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1989, I would have been there every day. Believe it.
You probably would have had a voodoo tattoo by now.
It's possible. My daughter's friends that go to Auburn, they go to Voodoo all the time. And they taunt me by saying I'm at Voodoo. And I feel bad because they don't have one in Montgomery. But guess what? If you're in Auburn, that's not a problem for you because they do have one. And what you can expect when you get there is delicious food. So many delicious items. It's going to be prepared super hot for you by a very competent person at the front desk there. Trained so well. It's a clean place. It's a great place to eat. We go there on game days, on Tuesdays during game week, I should say. I also stop by on game days occasionally. And we enjoy whether you get the boneless, you can get the traditional. You can also get their Sidewinder fries that I think are incredible. You can also finish off with a little bit of the nanner pudding that B-Matt loves so much, or the key lime that I love so much as well. Check them out, Voodoo Wing Company on College Street, 0.3 of a mile north of the interstate, just north of where the Supper Club once stood. You can check them out on the internet at voodoowingco.com. Brian Matthews, we released our projected depth charts over the weekend. I think we put out offense on Saturday morning.
Sounds right.
And the defense on Sunday morning. I wanted to take this time today to review those. We can start with defense, or we can actually focus on defense, since that's what I've got queued up here. Not a lot of questions about the defensive line, at least the front line. We've got Marlon Davidson as a starter at defensive end, to no one's surprise. At the other side, we've got T.D. Moultrie, who may be a surprise a little bit at that D.E. Buck position, mostly because, his freshman year, everybody was really fired up and was thinking, TD is going to be awesome, and then he kind of had that sophomore slump, I guess it's fair to say. The coaches now think TD's back, but B-Matt, I mean, what is your prediction? Do you think TD really is going to be the guy that can kind of fortify that position?
I do. I don't think Rodney Gardner would have said some of the things he said about TD if TD wasn't, having a really good camp and is poised to have that year that we sort of expect him to have. And I just think his emergence this fall has really made the strength of Auburn even stronger. I think the defensive line is really, really good. It is a little thin and can't afford a big, long-term injury. But I think the first 5 or 6 guys there are really strong, and Auburn's going to be in really good shape up front defensively.
Talking about the first group, T.D. Moultrie, again, a young man out of Birmingham that overcame a lot just to get to Auburn. Suffered an injury that a lot of people thought at the time was going to end his career before it really got started. But he was able to overcome that, and he plays with a lot of intensity. I just remember last year, a lot of times when I was looking for highlights for TD, he just would run himself out of position all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a tendency of so he'd be rushing from the outside, and instead of trying to conserve, can't remember the phrase that Rodney uses when he wants you to kind of narrow down that outside path, reduce maybe. I don't remember what he calls it, but he would allow himself TD to get pushed way out wide, and by that time, you take 8 steps out wide, and you're never going to be able to get back to the quarterback.
Yep, completely out of the play. Yeah,
yeah, you got to stay in your lanes. All right, so we got TD and Marlon on the outside. Derek Brown, recently named to the AP All-American team, to nobody's surprise, an absolutely outstanding player. And then to some people who are probably surprised, Nick Coe, we've got listed as a starter at defensive tackle, a 3-technique guy. Nick obviously is a defensive end by trade, but he also can play inside because he has such long arms and he has great understanding of leverage. And we think he's going to go, 50, 60 snaps a game at that 3-technique spot. Talk about those two guys, B-Matt.
Well, I think so too. And Nick is close to 290 pounds. He's right in that range. They're going to fluctuate a little bit. But every time we went out there, Tyron Truesdale was with the first team and Nick was the backups. But I just can't see Auburn not starting Nick Coe. He's just too talented of a player. And I think the best play to put him, especially with the emergence of Moultrie at Buck, is at defensive tackle. And, Auburn doesn't play a lot of teams that are going to be, tied in with a 2 running backs, a power I type team. And I think other than those teams, I think Nick can play mostly inside at defensive tackle and be very, very productive. I think Marlon Davidson is going to have a great season. He's looked really good and fit every time we've seen him just walking around or out at practice. And, you're thinking about Derek Brown, how good he's been. What's he going to look like if he takes the next step too? That's really a formidable front 4 there to me.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, can Derek Brown take the next step? I guess pass rush. He can add a little bit more there.
Yeah, maybe add a couple moves, be a little bit more explosive, getting in the backfield, making plays, but he's already a great player.
Yeah, he's tremendous against the run. As good as we've seen here. I'm trying to think of anybody. I mean, Senderic was playing at a really high level late in his career at Auburn.
Well, Nick Fairley made the biggest improvement from junior to senior I've ever seen for a defensive lineman.
God,
I mean, he was right. He was solid as a junior, but he was more or less a backup, right? And then he comes out his senior year and just explodes and becomes an All-American and a high first-round draft pick.
Well, yeah, and Auburn signed him out of high school.
Yeah, he went junior college.
They weren't sure what they were going to be able to do with him. They just loved his motor.
Yeah, thought he might even be an offensive guard eventually, but he turned out to be such a great player, such a great year in 2010.
He just always had that fire, kind of like an anger in him.
Yeah,
that kept him going. That, like, if you know Derek, like in real life, he's not an angry person. Derek's a really chill dude, but he has mastered the ability to kind of find that switch to flip when it's time to go, and no one ever questions his toughness when it's time to go, and his intensity. Here's where things get a little dicey on the defensive line. The second team guys. We've got Big Cat Bryant playing behind Marlon officially. Big Cat, I think of him as a buck normally, but they don't have a lot of options really at any of these positions. So we've got Big Cat at 1 DE. We've got Connis Miller Jr. at a tackle spot. Connis was cleared for contact, I think, about 10 days ago. He had off-season shoulder surgery. I like him a lot. I just don't know how skilled he is at this point. I mean, he's a fine player. I don't know how skilled he is. We got Tyrone Truesdell as the other backup defensive tackle. Brian and I have discussed them several times on the show. We have differing opinions on him. And then we've got Nick Coe as the backup buck. That could also be Big Cat. I would think Big Cat would probably be the first guy to come in at end or buck. Be mad. Is that where you see it?
I do. I absolutely do. And I think, Nick Coe can help out at defensive end also. And I think you're going to see Jaron Handy also get into the playing rotation at defensive end, a true freshman there. I think he'll help out a lot. Beyond that, they are a little bit thin, I would have to say, and it's really important those guys stay as healthy as possible.
Yeah, because we just can't afford anything there. All right, and then you were talking Jaron Handy, another guy. Gary Walker can play a little bit there if needed. Smaller guy for sure, but been playing a while. Daquan Newkirk, a guy we were talking about before we started the show. A guy they really need out there.
Yep, and then I guess Derek Hall, the true freshman, can help out at Buck too. Would not be surprised him to play a little bit early here and get some experience.
just to see if maybe they can rely on him a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know as though you've got to necessarily hold all the way that you used to kind of hold red shirts down. I don't know. I think they get a little bit more willing to play red shirts now than they were 10 years ago.
Plus, they got 4 games for guys. Even if you play in a red shirt, you still got 4 games. That makes a big difference to me.
That does. Moving on to linebacker. We've kind of got this set up in a 4-3, although Auburn uses a 4-2-5 probably more. But in a traditional sense, this gives you an idea who the top 3 linebackers are. We've got Chandler Wooten at the strong side, the Sam linebacker, Kenny or KJ Britt in the middle, and then Zacoby McClain as the weak side guy. That may surprise some Auburn folks, B-Matt, because although Wooten has played a little bit, and same thing with KJ and Zacoby, none of those guys have really been starters before, and now you're relying on those 3 guys to really step up and give you, 60 snaps a game, and those guys haven't handled that kind of workload. Tell me why people should be optimistic about this.
Well, number one, I think they're talented. I think KJ is a natural leader and a natural inside linebacker, really physical. I think Chandler Wooten has really stepped up and played well at the middle this fall. So I think the coaches feel like they can rely on him to be a middle or a Sam, play both positions and provide a lot of leadership there too. And then you've got a player in Owen Popo that's stepped up and been maybe the best freshman other than Bo Nix on the team, and a guy that's pushing for a starting position as a true freshman at linebacker, which is not an easy position, I think, for a true freshman to play right out of the gate. So to me, they've got 4 guys, Zacoby McClain, that are really, really good and talented. And I think T. Will does a great job of coaching these guys up. So I feel pretty confident this is going to be a strong group from the get-go.
Well, there's no doubt. Got a question from the YouTube watchers. Could Nick Coe be Auburn's next Nick Fairley? You see that being a possibility, B-Matt?
I do. I don't think there is going to be a Nick Fairley. I think he had double-digit sacks and maybe over 20 tackles for loss that year. Something like that. Was crazy numbers he put up. I'm not sure that any defensive lineman is going to put up something like that. But the way Auburn's D-line is now, you've got 4 playmakers, if Nick Coe's starting, that are all capable of making, big plays. So I think it's going to be spread out a little bit. But I do think Nick can take a big step up, especially being a full-time starter.
He's good. He's definitely beaten to the beat of his own drummer. Kind of an odd character, but
and if you double team Derek and put Nick Coe 1-on-1 with a guard, he is going to out athletic that guy every single time. If he can keep that guy from getting inside of him, he is going to make plays at defensive tackle.
All right, so back to linebacker. We talked about Wooten, Britt, and McClain are your 3 starters. If they go to the 4-2-5, where you've got a money backer and a Mac backer, I think in those situations you're going to see more Owen Popo. Number 10, number 1 in your hearts, obviously, but number 10 on the field. And I think he's going to play a lot, B-Matt. Owen Popo is really, for me, the biggest wild card on the whole defense because I think he can really help this year. And I know you like him too.
I do. I would call my biggest wild card Smoke Monday, but Owen Popo is going to really excite Auburn fans. He's a tremendous athlete who is also really smart, really hardworking, and really determined to be a great player. And you put all that together, and that's the makings of a all-conference type player in the coming years. Probably an all-freshman SEC, all SEC freshman team this year.
I expect to see him quite a bit. I just think he's going to bring more explosiveness than Zacoby or Chandler. And I think that will matter as we get into October. I don't know about early. Because, again, he's a true freshman. He's going to have to get cussed out by T. Will a few times.
Yeah. And I see Popo and McClain also being really good on special teams this year.
Well, there's no doubt. Getting back into the defensive backfield, Noah Igbenogany. We've got him as a projected starter at cornerback. At the other cornerback, Javaris Davis. Obviously, Igbenogany, one of the great stories, I think, development-wise in the last 10 years, which is kind of a failed wideout. Not necessarily a failed wideout, just kind of a guy that didn't distinguish himself at wide receiver. They had other guys that could play that position. They said, hey, why don't you switch over to defense? And he goes, yeah, let's do it. And he's ended up becoming, B-Matt, an incredible football player, really.
The people that we've talked to, JG, think Noah could play himself into being a first-round talent in next spring's draft. That's how high they are on him. So he's certainly got to go out there and do it. But you look at his skill set, he's got pretty good size at about 6 foot, got pretty good length. And the thing about him is the same thing you say about Popo is he's just really determined to be a great player. He's got a great attitude, really smart. I just think with him and Javaris Davis, a senior, Auburn's got some pretty good, competitive, fast, quick cornerbacks who can match up with just about anybody.
Yeah, Noah's an interesting personality. He's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And the things that he says, he means what he's saying. He's careful with what he says. I would not call him affable. He's just kind of a cold-blooded killer type guy. You know what I mean? Like he's just, like you mentioned, very serious about becoming a better football player, and he just can't really be trifling with other stuff.
Not one of those trash-talking cornerbacks at all.
I think he probably slips one in every now and then, but he's not demonstrative.
Maybe. But one of those, he lets his play speak for itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Sort of like the opposite of Junior Rose Green in that sense. Yeah.
Junior Rose Green would hit a man, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he would. That was kind of his thing, man.
Yeah.
Junebug from South Florida. Was he a Dillard guy?
Oh, yes.
No, Igbenogny's from Hewitt-Trussville, a little bit of a different area. And Javaris is from, let's say Jacksonville, maybe.
Sounds right, yep.
Yeah, Javaris, when in high school he had a U in his name. He was Javarius. But he told Jay Lee the U was silent. And so,
and then he took it out so people would stop calling him Javarius.
Just completely omitted the U.
Uh-huh.
So it's just Javaris now, even though that's not the name his mother gave him. Also, starters projected at safety: Daniel Thomas, a former two-star prospect from Montgomery, Alabama, and free safety Jeremiah Denson, one of my all-time favorites. Those two guys together bring a whole lot of experience, B-Matt, and that's really the thing that you can count on with those guys for sure.
Yeah, and I think Daniel's a little underrated as a playmaker back there. Has sort of a nose for the football, puts himself in position to make plays. And Jeremiah, smart, leader of the defense, gets everybody lined up, coach on the field type. But I also think last year he was still dealing with coming back from some serious injuries, and maybe athletically was not where Jeremiah can or will be this year. So this year I really expect him to step up his play and be a much more forceful, much more of a playmaker, much more ready to be a little bit of a standout as a senior or fifth-year player now.
Yeah. He's a really calm, rational human being, which is my favorite thing about Jeremiah Denson. And I think as Kevin Steele loves having that kind of a player back there at free safety because he's not going to get caught up in the moment very much. Daniel Thomas is an interesting player insofar as he's really good playing coming downhill. So if the play's happening in front of him, he's really useful. When the play's happening behind him and he's got to go back, that's when things get ugly. And he has a tendency to kind of miss things like that. And the good news is that Auburn has a great second team group at safety, both safety spots. Jamie and Sherwood playing behind Daniel Thomas at the strong spot, and then Smoke Monday as a free safety. And those two guys work together. It's almost like a tandem. We've got Daniel and Jeremiah together, Jamie and Smoke together, and they just flip them and flop them. But here's my thing, and I've been talking about this since June. I think Jamie and Smoke are more talented than the guys ahead of them. The guys ahead of them are more veteran.
Yeah.
What is Kevin Steele going to do? Because I think you're better. I really do think you're better with Jamie and Smoke out there. But I don't know how he's going to figure that out. Or how he's going to make that work, I should say.
You're going to find different ways to get Smoke and Jamie on the field. They'll certainly play some special teams. And I think they're still going to rotate in with the two starters. And I think Kevin is just going to treat it like a competition, and whoever performs the best, whoever has the most production in games will get more playing time as the season goes on. So I would not completely rule out the possibility of those guys earning more and more playing time as the season goes into October and November.
Yeah. Behind them, we've got Malcolm Askew, who I bet a lot of you guys have forgotten was even on the roster. I mean, we haven't really said his name. He hasn't been a factor. And then Jalen Simpson, a young man, just kind of getting his feet wet and getting moving.
Yeah, I think Jalen's had a good last couple of weeks of fall camp. Feel like he's going to be a good player. He's behind too many good players right now to make a big impact. Malcolm has had been slow developing, but he's also had a pretty good spring coming into summer fall where they feel like he can help out a little bit more if needed. I think he's made himself at least available to get in there now.
I would probably advocate that Malcolm tweet less. Just my opinion.
And we really didn't touch on the backup cornerbacks and nickels, which I think is probably.
I was headed there.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's do it right now because I got out of whack a little bit. I got excited talking about the safeties. Okay, so backing up Noah Igbenogany, we've got Roger McCreary, and behind him, Devin Barrett. I know you guys have probably forgotten about him. Auburn still lists him as a tailback, but we're 99% sure he's playing defensive back.
Yeah, he's playing DB. I don't know why they won't switch him over. Roger McCreary is Auburn's next good cornerback. They consider him a starter now. Just a sophomore. He'll be the number 3 guy. He'll be out there if injuries happen. I think he'll probably be the top dime, in situations. If they need 4 cover guys out there with Noah, Javaris, and Christian Tutt at nickel, I think Roger will be the 4th guy there too. But beyond those 4 guys, I think you're looking at 2 freshmen are the next up. Zion Puckett at the nickel dime, most likely. And then Nehemiah Pritchett at the cornerback. He's probably at least one of the backups, one of the top 4 at cornerback, if you don't consider nickels. So they've got some freshmen in there that they're going to have to get experience early and then maybe count on, if guys get banged up a little bit.
Yeah. Javaris will probably get banged up. He just has a tendency to get banged up.
Yeah. Well, DBs have a tendency to get banged up.
It's true.
Running around. They're having a lot of forceful tackles, having to come up and tackle 230-pound running backs. Sometimes they get blocked by offensive linemen or big tight ends or H-backs. So they take a beating.
It's a hazardous position. Roger McCreary, of course, a young man that Auburn added late that year. He's from Mobile. We love that Mobile toughness.
Yeah, that's a real thing, man. I'm telling you.
That is true.
They've got so many good players out of Mobile that were sort of underrated, and I think he's the next one.
Yeah, he's got a chance. I know a lot of people remember him for some notable failures in the Tennessee game last year. But listen, there were a lot of people on the wrong page in that game. Can't blame him for that. And my friend Al Pogue, who is now an assistant coach at West Virginia, who was at Troy at the time, guaranteed me that Roger McCreary is going to be a player. He was trying to get Roger McCreary. It was down to Troy and South until Auburn got involved. And he was like, I cannot believe that it took this long for a big school to get in on him. So, for what that's worth. And I trust Al Pogue like nobody's business when it comes to coaches. Known that guy 20 years. Also, somebody that Brian mentioned earlier at nickel, Christian Tutt is going to be the starter there. And he is a made-to-order nickel. I mean, he's not some, hey, he failed here or there, we're going to slide him down here. The whole way through recruiting, Kevin Steele thought Christian Tutt was the guy that he wanted to have at nickel. Tutt probably he's a hitter, and he's not quite a quick twitch enough to be a cornerback. He's a made-to-order nickel. He can give you some cover. He can give you some hitting. He can play down or backwards. I remember I was mentioning that about Daniel Thomas. Christian Tutt can play with his back to the ball or face up. I think he's going to be a tremendous player at that position. Last year, he was a true freshman, and he made some mistakes. They were trying to get him in, but they ended up having to play JD there some because, Tutt was just learning what to do. But he's got a full year now of college play under his belt. He's had the whole offseason to get things going, and I think Christian Tutt's going to slide in there and be really good. BMAT's got Jordan Peters playing behind him at nickel. Jordan, I think, is good to go now. He did miss some time with an injury. And then, as Brian mentioned earlier, Zion Puckett is a guy we think is going to be the backup at both nickel and dime, at least the 3rd guy. And then at dime, we've got Jordan Peters, Roger McCreary, and Zion Puckett. So,
yeah, and Peters is a guy we haven't talked much about, and he has been injured, but he really made a name for himself on special teams last year. And he's one of those guys, had he been completely healthy, you'd expect him to be a veteran now that's got his feet wet that really steps up and becomes a really good player for Auburn. So he's one to keep a close eye on as we get into September. He gets more playing time and gets more healthy.
I wonder let's just say that he had been healthy this whole time. Where do you think he profiles in? I mean, would he be more than a dime?
See, it's hard to say because he's not necessarily a cover guy.
Right.
And there's so many good safeties on this team.
Yeah.
So he'd probably have to be a nickel and dime and used in certain situations and special teams guy, but still an exciting player. You got to have guys like Jordan Peters on teams to be successful.
And he has that personality, man. He's just kind of a consensus builder, a positive guy, kind of like Jeremiah. Probably a little more vocal than Jeremiah, but you got to have guys like that kind of spread the happiness. All right, so that's our look at the defensive depth chart. I do want to mention, I didn't even say his name, Josh Marsh is a backup, at least officially.
I see him as a special teams player this year.
Yeah.
And a good one. He's got some really good athleticism. I think he'll be good at covering punts and kicks. however they want to use them in coverage situations.
Yeah, you got to have guys that do that. Good ones, too. Special teams pretty big. We're not going to be able to get to offense right now because the show's dragging on a little bit, but we did have a couple questions, B-Matt, about the offense, which we can mention right now. What do you think, Sean Shivers, how much playing time do you think he's going to get this year, B-Matt?
I think he needs between 8 and 12 touches a game. Catching the ball, running the ball, maybe on special teams, we'll see. But I just think he's too explosive not to give an opportunity to make an explosive play and make a 50 or 60 or 70-yard run that could change a game, in an instant. So I think you've got to get him involved.
As a traditional 4 or in other ways? Do you think he can carry the ball 10, 15 times a game?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, but of course, if you say, all these running backs are getting 10 to 15 carries, that's too much. They're not enough. So I think it's more like 8 to 10, maybe 12.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
And maybe just get him some touches on the outside.
And I would say touches with Shivers because I think he's a really good receiver out of the backfield too.
Another question, how much Wildcat and who's going to run it? I don't think they have a big percentage, right?
I think they'll have some, but I would expect it to be Booby and or Harold Joyner. I just think it depends on who's in the game. You do not substitute in for a Wildcat. You use the running back or receiver or whoever's in the game at the moment, so you can have that matchup.
Booby. I think if they have a chance to set it up, I bet it'll be J.J. Wilson. That's my pick.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Harold Joyner could sneak in there, too. He's a tricky one. I know a lot of people in the bunker are just obsessed with Harold Joyner. I understand why. He's huge. And
where to put him on? Well, where do you put him on the depth chart?
Yeah,
they say he's not an H-back, but he is, sort of, right?
Yeah, sort of. He's definitely been tougher than we thought he would be because in high school he had a reputation of being kind of a soft player, a finesse player, and he really hasn't been that at Auburn. So.
No, he hasn't. I guess you could put him at running back, but is he ahead of Booby or Sean Shivers or DJ Williams or even Cam Martin at the moment?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't see that.
I don't know. Maybe he will be or is, but I don't know that. I guarantee you he'll be somewhere on Auburn's depth chart probably Tuesday, somewhere. Of course, they'll have so many oars and so many positions, it'll be crazy.
Yeah, they're going to be lots of oars on there.
Yeah, I love the oar.
And let's see, one more thing. Rob wants to know predictions on Auburn's DL against Oregon's OL. You care to pontificate on that one, Big Daddy?
I think that's the most important matchup in that game. Absolutely the most important, especially early. I think Auburn's defensive line needs to come out and play really well, slow down Oregon's offense, and give Auburn's offense to get into the game. You do not want to put pressure on Bo and that offense early and get them behind and have them pressing early. Yeah. That's the worst thing that could happen to Auburn in that game.
That'd be bad.
So they've got to come out playing with fire.
Pistachio says it's going to be Auburn winning that game 41-13, just so you say.
Auburn would be very happy if that happened.
You think Auburn's going to win the game?
Yeah, I think I probably will pick. That reminds me, I got to do our pick. God, JG. Oh, so much.
Mr. Quarter, I think he's going to pick Oregon. I got a feeling.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I would imagine. All right, let's move on to some shout-outs, B-Matt. What do you think?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
All right, I've got a couple, if I can find them here. All right, first off, to WDE, who posted on the board a few days ago that he's down 136 pounds in 11 months. Now, that is awesome. Great work, WDE. Way to go. So, good for him.
Oh, yeah.
Just and then a special shout-out to Dan the Man 43. He posted, I think it was last week,
about his daughter.
His daughter had a lump on her neck, and they're taking to the doctor, and she ended up having a biopsy. They've consulted with St. Jude, so I just want to send a special shout out to Dan the Man and his daughter. Tell them we're thinking of them. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and hoping for a good result here. And want to say the same for any Bucker member or their family that's going through some sort of an illness or a medical situation.
Yeah, we're thinking you guys. Bunker's a great place to talk about stuff like that. They won't make fun of you, and you will get a lot of prayer on your behalf. I know I've been the benefit of that myself many times. All right, I'm going to go in a little bit more of a lighthearted direction here. I got some shout-outs here. Warek starts a thread. Came home, and the wife had home-made chicken and dumplings ready.
Oh, I saw this one. Yeah.
That was all he had to say in that one. Obviously, we're concerned when your wife goes way out of your way to do things like that. Marbrand says, rip to OP. That's exactly what I thought. You're either about to get poisoned or there's going to be something very expensive in your future. Hornacious or Hornamania, I'm not sure which one, said if that bitch loved you, she would have had a bag of Popeye's spicy chicken sandwiches waiting for you.
Oh,
That would have been tough. BP Rockman says my plan is working to get rid of OP. Just waiting on wife to say that he has been pronounced dead, and I will be moving stuff in. Guy, just a joke. He was just joking. Not gonna actually kill anybody.
Have we heard from OP since?
Yeah. He said he was losing consciousness, but everything's fine. T-Town Tiger starts a thread. I love you guys. I don't know if you guys saw this. It's Friday night late. He said, I'm buzzing on my fourth beer. Realized you guys are my family. Thanks for never inviting me to tailgates. S-Town says, Jesus, OP, pull it together. Hoover Eagle 91 says, yikes. Mab Rider says, is this one of those alcohol PSAs to make people want to stay sober? Well, hey, one thing led to another in that thread, and people were asking for pictures of his wife, and I'm pretty sure he pulled that through. I think he posted pictures of his wife. They are not there now, but I think I remember seeing that Friday night, so I want to give him credit for following through on that. Tigers 3014 starts a thread. Gumptown is getting a $50 million water park, folks. That number's a little fudged, but whatever. He says, no, it will not be located in Midtown for those worried that they will not be able to find it if it was. That's funny. Everybody making fun of me.
That's definitely a good insider joke right there.
Yeah, I referred to an area of town that's probably more like Cloverdale as Midtown, and all the Gumpies are all over me about it. But there's a huge new big thing of flats being built right next to El Rey, that area which we would normally call Cloverdale, but it's being built there, and it's called Midtown. It's called like Midtown 47 or something. And I mean, I was like, okay, it's Midtown now, but everybody's bitching about it. Anyway, water park, $50 million going in just west of the interstate. It's not a great part of town, but apparently they're going to build like a big rafting, kayaking water park thing, whatever. Auburn 73 starts off fast, going for a world record for flesh-eating amoeba deaths. Rob Kelly says, now Gumptons will have a place to go pee. Salas says, can't wait to pee in the water. I don't know what it is with you guys and peeing, but it seems like that was a recurring theme there. And no, Montgomery is not always dirty. There are some clean folks and clean areas. It's a good town to live in. I've raised a daughter here, and I'm happy to be here. So if you guys want to rag on Montgomery, you go right ahead. But do it knowing that you're hurting my feelings. Chris on the YouTube wanted to talk about special teams, but I don't really want to get into that right now. Rob says, great show, guys. Appreciate you watching, Rob. And Eric Moss says he thinks Matthew Hill, Shivers, and Nix are all going to have big games Saturday. Your thoughts on that, B-Matt? Matthew Hill?
I could see that, yeah. I think Seth Williams is going to get a lot of attention from Oregon's defense, so we may have to spread it around a little bit.
Yeah, can't go to one guy. Spread it around. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. I want to give a shout-out to our friends at Voodoo Wing Company for their support of what we do here at The Rundown on AuburnSports.com. Thank you guys again. For those of you listening, if you haven't been to Voodoo, you need to go. It is delicious. We're going to go there Tuesday and devour. We're going to destroy some chicken products. I can promise you that.
Oh, yeah.
Also, shout out to our friends at Lynch Toyota of Auburn. First of all, they have the greatest general manager in the world. And second of all, every guy there is cool. I know this because I've gone over there many, many times to talk cars and just to talk life. And they got some good ones. Kenny's my guy on the floor, though. It's the guy I talk to the most. And if you're looking for a vehicle, that's probably the guy I would send you to specifically because he knows the cars and he's there on the sales floor. But there's really nobody bad. Everybody there is good.
Jay, real quick, Vance Mee says he really likes the way you work over that mic. It's a real turn on.
Hey, Vance. How you doing, buddy? It's great to have you here. Vance has been nice. He used to give me trouble on the board, and now he's been nice. He was, of course, the one that led the membership drive to get us to 1,000 on YouTube. We are now over 1,700, so we are comfortably above the 1,000 subscriber threshold, and we thank you very much for your support, sir. Also, to our awesome subscribers, I mean, where would we be without you? Nowhere. Probably be in a gutter crying right now with my hands over my head. It'd be sad. So thank you very much for supporting what we do here at AuburnSports.com. We love the subscribers. We tell you that every single time we do a show. I know you get bored with it and say, here we go again, JG, blah, 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 love me, blah, blah. Yes, we do. We care about you very much. We've got a subscriber right now in the chat saying, wife beater B-Matt would make me moist. Tim also said, would like to see BMAT in the wife beater versus a white tee. And then BP Rockman says that he would be moist if he had a chance to see that. Do you own a wife beater?
Next time, BP. Next time.
Do you own one?
I can cut off the sleeves and make my own, buddy. What are you talking about?
I think Brian would take that. Yeah, I think BP Rockman would take that. He'll take what he can get at this point. If you're not a subscriber to auburnsports.com, why would you not be after listening to this show? This is the kind of personality you know you can get at auburnsports.com. Check us out. We've got a deal going. If you buy a new annual subscription, you get a 25% discount on that bad boy. And then you get $70, $75 to Adidas to get Adidas swag. You get a coupon. So here's the deal. You're basically spending $75 to get $75 back in Adidas apparel.
Get your game day shirt on.
You can do that. Absolutely. I have Adidas apparel on right now, if you can see that.
Nice.
And that's $75 worth. So basically you come out free and you get a subscription for a full year to the greatest site discussing Auburn on the entire internet. Believe me. And BP Rockman says, bring it on, B-Matt. He's willing to take anything he can get on that shirt. All right, guys. If you guys are out there listening, you're almost surely an Auburn person, because why would you listen to this show this long if you don't care about Auburn? You're out there working today with those Georgia fans, maybe some Tennessee fans. You know the ones. Maybe a Notre Dame fan here or there that think they're the greatest, but they're really not. Their days are over. Just go out there and be awesome today and put them away, because you know game day is coming up. You know your team's got a big-time game on ABC. They might win that game. Auburn's a great school. You should be proud to be an alumni of that place. So look down on them instead.
Is this your deep thoughts segment?
Just be better than them, because you are better than them, because you went to Auburn and they didn't. How do you feel about that? Till we see you again.
I feel so much better about myself now. Thank you, JG.
Hey, Brian, as an Auburn graduate, I want you to go out today, and I want you to do a great job. And don't worry about these Georgia people like Ben that want to talk down to you. He's gone, and you're still here. We can write a song about it.
His hair will always be a part of the site, JG.
I know.
Floyd Maine.
I have to admit I was jealous a little bit. I don't want my hair to be as long as his, but it was nice for him to have those flowing locks, and everybody would holler at him and go, man bun, and it made him popular. Oh, well. Till we see you guys again, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Oh, yeah.
That was a long show, Brian.
We only got half of the depth chart done, too.
Well,
and we didn't disparage people for watching Florida and Miami either. Oops.
No, there isn't a we to that. You didn't disparage them. I set it up for you. And
that was before the show, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't before the show.
Yeah.
Be mad.
I blew it.
What are you doing?
Drop the ball. High and tight, JG. I didn't keep it high and tight.
How dare you? All right, you got a couple good shout-outs there. Dan the Man, I thought about it, but I'm glad you picked him up. Good stuff. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. We did the show, Friday, and I couldn't get it on YouTube because I failed. But I didn't fail this time. For those of you watching on the YouTube, appreciate you guys doing that, being part of it.
And my internet made it all the way through. How about that?
I know, man. This is big.
America.
The little victories, B-Matt.
Yes, it is.
All right, guys. So those of you watching on YouTube, that's BP, Chris, Rob, Eric, DZ, Ryan, Tim, AUEKU's made an appearance. What up, man? It's my guy. I made sure to text him or send him a message when I was at EKU earlier this year. I knew he would appreciate that. Nancy's in the house as well. Webb was in the house earlier. I don't know if he still is. Lou, Tigerman 1143, Project Clash, Daniel, War Eggle. Appreciate you guys being part of the show. I do try to get to y'all's questions. It can be tricky because I'm trying to multitask here, but I mean, it happens sometimes. Let's see. AUEKU says, hey, B-Matt, my oldest daughter is a Montevallo undergrad and an Auburn graduate degree grad. So that's what you have to look forward to. You can pay for college another 6-7 years for her.
Hell yeah. She's going to pay for herself with all the scholarships.
Hey, now.
Hey.
We're hoping she gets to we'd love to see her be a Chi Omega. I'm just going to put it that way.
I will say this. She is being recruited by them pretty hard. It seems like.
She got an insider, I'm trying to think of what the word is.
Rec.
Insider rec from a certain Chi Omega alum that I know.
Yeah.
Who lives in my house. We love the X and the Horseshoe, I'm just saying. So I'm looking forward to seeing her in an X and the Horseshoe and doing soon. All right, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Again, for those of you on YouTube, thanks for watching our show. We'll try to make it more exciting. I don't know. I mean, it's just me and B-Matt, you know. I did have a graphic earlier, although I messed it up. It changed to offense. Oh, it's on defense now. I was trying to get the offense set up, and then it showed offense when we were talking about defense, but that's just me because I'm a dipshit. Yeah, I know, Pistachio. I know we're still streaming. That's why I keep thanking you for watching, bro. All right, we'll wrap it up there then, seriously. You guys be good out there today.
Peace, brothers.
See you.